Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be showing you guys how to do the hair for our show choir this year. But first off, I just kind of wanted to talk about all the different ways you can curl your hair. So the first way that's probably going to be the most common is to use a curling iron. We're supposed to use a 1/2 inch this year. Preferably you have one with a clamp on it and you know how to use the clamp. I personally don't know how. You can use a wand if you're more comfortable with that, but there's a special way you need to use it because we need to get ringlet curls instead of wavy curls. So when you use the wand, you want to make sure the hair lays flat every time it goes around. And once we get into the video, I'll show you exactly how to do that. But you need to make sure you're doing that if you are using a wand. The other way to curl your hair is to use some form of curlers. The ones that I would recommend, I think they're called curl formers. They're like a little spiral tube that you pull your hair through. Those ones are going to give really good ringlet curls. If you can find those, I would definitely recommend them. The kind of curler that I used on my hair today is one of those, it's like a bendy stick. Let me grab one for you. Alright, so this is going to be the same situation as the wand. You're going to want to make sure the hair lays flat every time it comes around because you can get it's easier to get a wavy curl with these than a ringlet curl. So I'll show you how to do that when we get to the video. When using the curlers, you want to make sure to put them in when your hair's damp. So this could mean showering and waiting for it to dry almost completely or using a spray bottle to wet down the hair as you put it in the curlers. Either way works. You can try out both, see which one works best for you, and then you're going to want to sleep with them in. If you don't like sleeping in curlers and they're too uncomfortable for you, you can definitely put them in, leave them in for a couple hours, and then blow dry them with a blow dryer just to lock them in place and make sure they stay for longer. Now you can either curl your hair before you put it in the ponytails or after. Today I did it before. If you're going to do it before, you have to make sure that you're curling a couple inches away from your roots. That way we can get this part really smooth and slick. Alright, now that we know how to curl our hair, let's get into the videos of how to actually do it. Alrighty, I'm starting off with freshly washed hair. I just let it air dry, and now I'm brushing it out to make sure there's no tangles left. I like to start with clean hair just because it's fluffier, and you can get a bigger tease with that. So next I'm going to section off my bump. You use one of these combs with a point on the end. I don't know what they're called. But you're going to want to make a little semicircle shape in the front of your head. So I just start by sectioning off one side, and then I take that hair and clip it. Well, I just like to put it in my mouth instead of using a clip. There I am. And then you do the same thing to the other side and connect the lines. And then once you have this whole section done, you're going to want to just twist it up and clip it on top of your head because we want to keep that part straight while we curl the rest of our hair. Now moving on to the curlers that I'm using today, I just use an old perfume bottle with water to dampen my hair. You're going to take like a 1-inch section of hair, and then you're going to take your spray bottle, and you're going to just lightly dampen the hair. Now there's 2 different ways you can use this. You can do it the right way or the wrong way. You want to make sure to get a ringlet curl with these, so the way to do that is to make sure the hair sits flat every time you go around. I'm just holding the top with my finger and then repositioning it to make sure it's flat again to go around. Once you get the hang of this, you can do it a little bit faster. And then with the curlers I'm using, you're just going to bend the edges over like this. It's the same thing if you use a wand, you're going to want to do the same method of keeping it flat. Now this is the wrong way to use these curlers or a wand, to just quickly wrap it around like that. You can see how it's a bit thicker, and that's because the hair twists around itself as it twists around the barrel, and you don't want to do that because you're going to get more of a wave. Alright, here I am a couple hours later. I let those sit in, and here's the ringlet curl that we made. This is the right way to do it. It's really bouncy. It's going to be thin and a perfect ringlet. This is the wrong way to do it. It's going to be a little bit more of a wave. As you can see, it's a bit thicker as it goes around, and it's not as bouncy. That's the wrong way, and this is the right way. Once you have all of your hair curly and looking crazy like this, we're going to move on to sectioning it off. The first section, you're going to want to start at the front of your ear and go straight to the top of your head, kind of where you want your bump to end. So you're going to make the straightest line possible right there. I just do it half and half. So you take the first half, clip it off or hold it in your mouth like me, and then do the other side. Try to keep your lines as straight and precise as possible. And then once you get both lines done, you're going to bring the pieces back together. And then I like to just have somebody help me make the line straight in the back. You can't really see, but it's pretty bumpy. So I had my sister come in and just straighten out the line for me and make sure that everything was perfect. Once your line is straight, you're going to want to hold that piece off for a minute and take all your hair on the bottom, and you're just going to put that in a loose ponytail quick to keep it out of the way while we slick back the top piece. You're first going to want to hold it right on top where the ponytail is going to go, and then I just took my teasing comb and smooth out the sides as flat as possible. You're going to want to brush out both sides, and then I'm just taking this gel that I found in my cabinet. I don't know what it is. Anything will work. And I'm realizing that I don't have a hand to put it on. So you're going to want to use about a pea-sized amount of that. And then you're just going to work that into the hair, making it as smooth as possible. Really just going down the hair. Make sure to get all the baby hairs you might have in front. And then you're going to take your teasing comb again and just brush over that one more time. You're going to want to do the same thing to the other side. And then once you're finished with that, you're going to take a hair elastic and tie that right on top of your head as tight as possible. Once you're done with that section, you're going to want to move on to your bump. I like to just pull all the hair forward and section off little piece by piece, teasing the back of that. I use a little bit of hairspray here, tease it a little bit, spray the hairspray on it, and then I'm going to go back and tease it a little bit more. You're going to want to keep teasing all the sections in your hair until you have it all teased, leaving the front section straight. Then you're going to brush that over the top and smooth it over. I like to take a little hairspray here, spray it on there, and then use my teasing comb again just to make sure all the baby hairs are stuck in there. Once you have that all smoothed out, you're going to take some bobby pins and you're going to pin the bump in place. So I like to just twist the back, stick it down, and then crisscross a couple pins over the top of that. Now if you have some of those ponytail clips, now would be the time to use it. You'd put it around that top ponytail. I don't have those yet, so I'm just going to be wrapping my hair around the top. So you just wrap this around as long as you can, and then you're going to pin it in place. If you do use the clips, you're still going to want to wrap your hair around the top clip. The other ones don't matter as much, but this top one, just to get rid of that extra straight hair, I would wrap it around the top. So add as many pins as you need to make sure that that stays in place throughout the whole performance. Now that that's done, we're going to move on to creating the next section. Now this one is a little bit trickier. You're going to want to go from the middle behind your ear up to the exact back of your head. So it's kind of hard to see here, but I'm just finding the middle of my ear, and then you want to make as straight of a line as possible and bring it back to the middle of your head. You're going to do the same thing where you do half of it, section that piece off, and then you're going to do the same to the other side. Once you have both sides done and they're meeting in the middle, you're just going to have a friend or somebody help you make sure the line in the back is straight. And then the section that's left on the bottom, you're going to want to put in a ponytail as far down on your head as possible and make sure that is super secure. Now you're going to take that middle section, you're going to slick it back and use the gel just like we did with the top section, and you're going to secure that one with a ponytail as well. Now would be the time that you would take those ponytail clips and put them on each of those. I don't have them today, so I'm going to skip that process. I'm just taking a little bit of hairspray to give my hair some texture before I start teasing, and I'm just going to spray that all over the hair. Not too much, it'll weigh it down, but just enough to get it sticky. And now we're going to begin teasing. You're going to want to take tiny, tiny little sections piece by piece and tease them focusing at the root and then working your way all the way up the hair. You're going to keep doing this, and in between pieces you're going to want to add some of this texture powder. This is the brand that I use. It's really inexpensive and you can get it at Sally's. Just put a little bit of that in at the root and keep teasing until you have every single piece teased as much as possible. Then you continue that process through all 3 sections of your hair and you will end up here. I like to just take my teasing comb and smooth out the top a tiny bit and then use some hairspray to smooth that out a tiny bit. And then after you have that in place, you're going to want to move on to the rest of the teasing. So you're going to want to take every curl just like this and just back comb it just to get a little bit more volume throughout the rest of your hair and mess up those curls a little bit. So you're going to do that throughout all 3 sections of your hair until it's completely teased. This is the time where you would go in with your curling iron and fix any curls that need to be fixed, and have a friend go through your hair and just make sure you tease every single piece. And then you can just finish it off with a little bit of hairspray to lock it in place. Lastly, I just wanted to show you guys how I take out my hair after a competition day. Everybody does different things, but this is just how I personally do it. So if you want to see how I take out my hair, keep watching. I like to brush my hair out before I get in the shower because I feel like water makes the hairspray all stick together and it's harder to get the tangles out. So I just start at the very top and comb section by section out with my wet brush. And then once the tangles are out, I move it to the front and start with the next section again. I like doing this because if you're like me and you go to church or work the next day and you don't have time to shower, you don't have to. You can just brush it and it'll look good the next day. After I have it all brushed out, I'm going to take my trusty coconut oil, which I show in a second. Just use a tiny, tiny bit of this. And I just run it through my ends to get rid of any frizz. And there you go. You're looking good, ready for church the next day. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I hope that this helped answer any other questions you guys have. And you're going to look lovely this season. Thanks, bye. I almost forgot. Here's a couple videos of me playing with Chomp for those of you that care. Meet Chomp. He just loves laugh. What are you doing? I'm petting you. I thought you were filming an intro. Me and my Chomp and me, playing at skate days. There's a snake in my skate.